Welcome to the Blanket Fort and happy Gasparilla weekend. I'm gonna call him Gasparilla because I took Spanish and I also have Spanish speaking relatives and I don't want them coming for my throat if they listen to this. So, I hope the people of Florida are happy and warm as I'm recording this podcast. Y'all know y'all got the scare of your life. It snowed. and I listen, I feel for you. I didn't see that coming either. But I hope y'all are getting back to normal and y'all are warm. And I hope you're cool pictures, by the way. Cool pictures coming out of North Florida along the Gulf Coast. Absolutely stunning, but very confusing. So, as I have said, it is Gasparilla weekend, and while I am not there physically, I am most certainly there in spirit. I will be there next year. Hopefully, we will not have a hell has frozen over winter. So, one day I'm going to get down there. It'll be next year, I promise. I have outfits. You'll see pictures. So, let's get into the legend of Jose Gaspar. So, there are many versions of the origin legend of Captain Jose, and they all sound like something someone should write a film about. I might be that person. The legend does not actually come from Tampa, where the festival is celebrated, but from Charlotte Harbor, Florida, located on the Florida Gulf Coast, not far, I would say, from Tampa. So, or within that area. So, how the story gets to Tampa is unknown. I mean, I would say it's probably just close proximity. But here goes the legend, or at least one of the iterations of the legend. So, this is the story I heard. Jose Gaspar was a man of noble birth who was very popular at court in Spain, and he would spurn a lover who, for revenge purposes, would accuse him of a huge crime. She would accuse him of stealing the crown jewels, which is a bit much, lady. But anyways, Gaspar would commandeer a ship and leave Spain, deciding to turn to piracy as his career choice. And he would rename himself Gasparilla. He would terrorize the Florida coast, sacking ship after ship, and when he wasn't pirating, he would retreat back to his den on Gasparilla Island, which was said to be near Captiva Island, so named because Gasparilla set up a prison there for women that he wanted to sleep with. They had another word, but I don't know why that. It was concubine. Concubine sounds way dirtier to me for some reason than just saying sleep with. So the legend ends with him taking his own life in lieu of being captured by an American ship that he mistook for a fat prize. And I know the way I wrote it out, it sounds very like non-anticlimactic, but it's very. I'm gonna say this, it's very cheesy. Homeboy pulled a bootstrap bill, a willing bootstrap bill, tied something heavy to his feet and dove in the water and basically said, "You'll never catch me, coppers." Which I was like, that was, I'm not pleased. you know. And I know it's a legend, but I was like, do better. So the other version I found involved Captain Gaspar being a member of the Spanish Navy. In this version, he stages a mutiny, then turns pirate. Then he goes and kidnaps a young woman. Like, he does a... Okay, he kidnaps a young woman. Now, I'm confused I'm confused as to him kidnapping a young woman or if he kidnapped two different women, because there's another version that says he kidnapped a Spanish princess or a Mexican princess, and yeah, that was confusing. But who is Jose Gaspar? Who is this man? This myth, this legend, this myth. Well, this myth, he's not real. And I know it's his weekend, but there are no records of Jose Gaspar, and you would think with Spanish nobility ties he would have some records on him. Being part of the Spanish Navy, he would, have some records. Of course, I did have this thought, like, what if this is his alias? But people in high historical places in Florida have said that he is not real. He apparently came from a man by the name of Juan Panther. I think it's called Juan Panther Key or Juan Panther Gomez, who was said to be Captain Gaspar's cabin boy, who by the time the story was recorded was 120 years old. However, this story is, as far as being in print, is due is credited to, rather, the Charlotte Harbor and Northern Railroad. You see, the railroad needed something to draw people to their new stop and hotel, the Gasparilla Inn. They would even commission a hotel, or a novel, telling the story of Gasparilla, including Panther John, aka Juan Gomez. So let me just say that that name is oddly specific, too. I'm like, what name? Maybe there actually was a man called Panther John. I'm thinking that's what it was, and they just, embellished, took his name and embellished a story around him. But, yeah, that's just me, though. Once people saw this story printed and in book form, they began to tell the story to other people, and they told it as fact because it was so rich in detail. And this spreaded the myth of Gasparilla worldwide. Probably worldwide, but wide enough to where we all know it, and, there's a festival. So which leads to other aspects of the legend as myth. So one of the biggest aspects of this legend are the names, the place names. So you have Sanibel Island. So in one of the many Gasparilla legends, there's a character by the name of Rodrigo Lopez, who is his first mate. The legend goes that Sanibel Island was said to have been named for Lopez's wife, whom he missed back in Spain. However, research will tell you that Sanibel Island was named possibly by a very real historical figure, Juan Ponce de Leon. And true enough, we give Ponce de Leon a lot of credit. We give him a lot of credit. So he would supposedly name the island for Queen Isabella of Spain. And he would name the island Santa Isabella, which on maps will be shortened to Sanibel Island or Isla Sanibel, which makes me wonder about Captiva Island. Because that's also, as we know from earlier, one of the islands that Gasparilla, was hanging out at. And there's an explanation that's very close and just as messed up as the Captiva Island Gasparilla origin. So, Captiva Island's original name was derived from Paseo Cativo, which may be related to the slave route to the Caloosahatchee River, which is actually very, very close to the Gasparilla story. So they're not totally off, which I find interesting. I do find that interesting that it's almost like they took from these historical facts in historical places and then mixed it into the gumbo that is, I'm hungry, the gumbo that is the Gasparilla or Jose Gaspar legend. So what's funny though is when I was doing my research, it's how all of the place names credit Jose Gaspar at some point in their explanations. Everything I looked up, they're like, yeah, Captiva Island, named by Jose Gaspar, who's fictional, but whatever. That it's weird. It's giving that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean when Jack Sparrow is talking to that guy is telling Jack Sparrow that how the Black Pearl leaves no survivors, and he's like, well, then where do the stories come from? That's what it's giving. You're gonna hear a lot of that. Well, actually, no, that's the only Pirates of the Caribbean reference I'm gonna give. I'm just kidding. So that's how pervasive this legend is in the fabric of Florida lore, which is so interesting, and I kind of love it. I'm sure we have the same thing in Georgia, but I'm really partial to like nautical, ocean going tales. Like I love it all, and so this right here is just so fascinating to me. Also, who doesn't love an old fashioned pirate story? Like who doesn't love that? I mean, I'm sure there are people who don't love that, but like who doesn't? Who isn't like, man? You know, they hear that, and there's like a it gives you. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those old like swashbuckling pirate movies that come on like TCM, starring Errol Flynn or somebody. That's what it's giving, and that's also why I love this legend. Um, and I don't know. I feel like I might have to write a character based off him because the legend is so cool. Like I've got my own little side note. Your girl is a writer. I've got my own little pirate situation that I'm working on, and I might have to include our boy Jose. We'll see. So, um, I mean, it also gives like Fountain of Youth vibes, but not in such a touristy, trappy way. And side note, I have, well, not side note, this is actually related. I have a video on some Florida legends. I think I actually included Jose Gaspar in that version, or in that video that I did last May for my summer series. So if you're interested in some more Florida lore, y'all can go check that out. And if you can see, TikTok also did some stuff on there um, involving Florida. So we are at the end of the podcast. This is a very short one, short and sweet. So this has been Pain and Hate, the podcast. Please like and subscribe either on Podbean or YouTube, whatever you choose. You can also follow me on Instagram at paintedhate _21. Or you can type in my name, Adri Hayes. So ADRIHAYES. And if you would like to see more videos like this, check me out on YouTube. Once again, check me out on YouTube if you prefer a visual medium. If you don't prefer a visual medium, then hey, that's up to you. Just, continue to check me out here on Podbean. So, I will see you on the next Painted Haint. And I love you guys, and please stay warm. We are having actual winter here in the South. I know my northern people are like, whatever, but no. Please stay warm wherever you are. Unless you're somewhere where the seasons are flipped, then please stay cool.